On today's show, is Henry Cavill still Superman, or can he start growing a mustache? Michael B. Jordan could be stepping into the phone booth. And speaking of phone booths, you don't want to get in one with this guy, am I right? That Michael Myers. Movie Talk starts right now. Gonna get a re-release, gonna get a new trailer we're talking about, and a whole lot of Superman stuff to unpack. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Collider Movie Talk. Over there is John Rocha. This is Haleigh Foutch. I am merely Mark Ellis, and I am back from Canada for at least a day. Thank you to everybody up in Toronto, all the fans, all the flicks, all the volunteers that made my time at the Toronto International Film Festival extra special. Had a blast. Can't wait to talk about all the movies I got to see, all in due time. And a huge thank you to John Rocha for steering the ship and not running this baby right into an iceberg.
I did what I could. You're sitting in my seat, Mark Ellis. I did what I could to hold on to this thing. You know, it's not easy to follow in your footsteps, but I'm glad to have you back, even if it's for just a day.
Haleigh, you have actually been on site watching John Rocha run around, try to cover all these different tasks that other people left him with when they went to Canada. How, in your opinion, is he holding up? Does he need medical attention?
He's frazzled at the edges, but I think he'll hold, Captain.
It's true. That's true. I got a Peter Finch in network going on over here. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore.
Rocha, one thing you can say about him, we got a few bats up there in the belfry. Well, we are going to kick off with the biggest news story of today is that you may have woken up and thought that Henry Cavill was going to be Superman again. Then you check Twitter and you see from The Hollywood Reporter, he might not be Superman anymore, and the reason for is because apparently Warner Brothers was trying to get him into a cameo role in Shazam. There were talks that were being had when those talks broke down, and it was apparent that they would not be able to get him into the movie that is set for release April 5th. That's when things started to go haywire, so now Cavill might not be Superman anymore, and WB has said that they don't have any plans in the near future for more Superman movies. They're putting their super priorities right now behind the new Supergirl film, which was just announced. Now, I like that part of the news because I never wanted a Supergirl movie to just be an excuse to get Superman back into the limelight. I didn't want Supergirl to have to be a launching pad for Man of Steel 2. I think Supergirl should be the own independent feature and celebrating this superhero that is Supergirl. Now, when you look at Henry Cavill, I just don't know which side is making the shots here, because if you have Warner Brothers saying, well, we really want him, and that was kind of what they said in a statement that was released later on today, that the relationship is great. They don't know if they have any plans for it right now, but it doesn't appear, at least if this report is to be believed, that Henry Cavill is going to be Superman for much longer, which begs the question, if you don't have movies lined up right away, why do you need to make this announcement? That leads me to believe this might be Henry Cavill or his rep saying, enough is enough. We're going to do what Ben Affleck probably wants to do and say, hey, we're not Superman anymore. We're going to go do other projects. Haleigh Foutch, you've been following the story all day. You look at this. Do you think that Warner Brothers? Do you think that Henry Cavill? Who is calling the shots right now? Who is in the right? And are you going to miss Henry Cavill should he no longer be Superman?
Yeah, man, if he goes, I'm bummed. I think he's been a great Superman, and while I haven't always agreed with the material, like I love what he brings to the character, and I've always wanted to see him do like a proper old-timey, old-fashioned Superman movie where he's a happy guy.
We just want a happy Superman.
I wouldn't mind it for once.
Right.
But,
I mean, you don't want that brooding, violent Superman, but it was a different angle to take. If you have Henry Cavill returning, whether or not they could get him in a cameo in Shazam, which I'm still not sure why you couldn't get him into Shazam.
And that would have been such a cool, I think, such a perfect fit if you were trying to be like, here's a different take on Superman than what we've been doing, and here's our fun new movie Shazam. Enter this slightly re-upped Superman. I love Man of Steel. I don't love it, but I like it a lot, and I go to bat for it, and I want another Superman movie with him in the lead, not sharing the stage with a bunch of people. That bums me out.
Yeah, Rocha, I think that some people who were big fans of Henry Cavill as Superman, regardless of what you thought of Man of Steel, which seems to be a pretty well-appreciated movie, if not a beloved film, is that he got shafted when they said Batman v Superman. Now, we all lost our minds and got excited because we were going to see Batman fight Superman on screen, but it was like, well, you sure you don't want to do a Man of Steel 2 before we start throwing all these other superheroes? Now, Wonder Woman's coming to town. We have a bunch of villains. So I'm not here to be a Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, this is what the DCU should have done starting way back. Let's just look at today and what the future holds. Do you think that Henry Cavill is ever going to be Superman again?
I have the feeling that it's a likelier possibility than it was at 9 a.m. this morning. And I think because of Danny Garcia, his rep, coming out on Twitter saying He's still got the cape in his closet. We're not done with these negotiations. And Warner Brothers commented, we appreciate Henry Cavill. They didn't say we appreciate the work he's done. We wish him well. They said we appreciate the dedication and the craftsmanship, all that kind of stuff they said to support Henry Cavill. So, and the fan reaction has been off the charts.
Yeah.
And so when they see something like that, WB, who doesn't really have a good track record of reading the fans and what they actually want and adapting to it or being one step ahead of the fans to give them what they want, maybe rethinking this whole scenario. And this puts the negotiation advantage now back in Henry Cavill's camp. He may have been like, I'm going to do the cameo, but only if you guarantee me a sequel to Superman. And they weren't ready to commit to that, maybe because they want to focus on Birds of Prey and Supergirl. And that's okay, of course. Go and focus on the films you want to focus on. But Henry Cavill was there at the beginning. He started this whole new DCEU we have now through Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan producing Man of Steel, which I absolutely love. And so he probably wants a little bit of respect here because he's been sitting on the sidelines. That sequel, like you said, Batman vs Superman, they almost eliminated him completely from his own damn sequel in essence. And then Justice League, he was dead for most of the movie. So those kinds of things, and Batman vs Superman, I mean, I don't want to talk about that, but like that just shows you that he has taken hits for the team and he's come back every time in the game when they needed him. And now he's like, well, listen, I've given you 5 years. How about a little return on this situation? And so I respect that he wants to have a little bit more negotiation pull in this situation. He may be back.
Well, yeah, I mean, to that point, Haleigh, do you think that this is Henry Cavill or his rep saying, look, we're just tired of this tug of war. We're trying to get our own movie back here. We don't want to be an ancillary player in the DCU anymore. So we're going to take either our actor or the actor himself is saying, I don't want to do this dance anymore. Because like Rocha said, he's been the good soldier throughout this whole run. Do you think he's just sick and tired of it? And that's why he's the one that might be saying, I'm done.
You know, it's hard to say because, like you say, he has been a good soldier, especially for Warner Brothers. They work together really well, and I hope that he's not over it at this point. I do get the feeling that maybe there's a little bit of negotiating in public we're seeing today. And as someone who expressed that I would not like to see him go, I hope that's the case, and I hope the negotiations go well. I can't source where I saw it today, so I'm almost reluctant to bring it up. But I did see a tweet from somebody who works at one of the bigger outlets that it was actually Warner Brothers who made that call, which is, I hope they're learning a bad call. Well, people are mad.
People are very upset, and y'all are right. I mean, online you see mostly it's a pretty positive amount of fan support for Henry Cavill. And like I said, the movies themselves may not be the most beloved comic book movies of all time. Why is it that he is such a great Superman?
Well, I think people respect, and this goes in any arena, sports, movies, entertainment, what have you. People respect loyalty. And they've seen Cavill take the hits. He's never come on badmouth DC. He hasn't even slightly badmouthed DC in some crafty, clever way. He has done his job. He showed up. He's done the physical work to look like that. When you watch those training videos, I don't care what age you are, it's a lot, of work that he puts in, what he has to sacrifice just to play Superman for 6 scenes in a movie or something like that. It's a lot to ask of him. So for him to go, yeah, we're going to put you in a cameo. Great, I'll be a cameo, but you better give me a whole damn movie. I think that's the smart move here. In his way, he's doing it in a very gentlemanly way, very respectful way. He didn't mind playing second or third banana in Mission Impossible, and he's Superman, and he didn't mind playing second or third banana. And I think that's the thing. And people, he has a charm and a look about him and a softness to him that people like and enjoy. And in interviews and like the interview he did for Mission Impossible with Simon Pegg, where they're doing British words and American words, he's so charming, so damn charming. And I think that's what it is. He has the public on his side because he has never done anything negative towards DC or said anything negative and has given his all to the character. And so people naturally respond to that. Whereas Affleck has done, you understand the Affleck issue there, the whole the sadness, all of that. Affleck has registered his disgust or distaste at certain times. It's obvious to the public.
I'm not going to give the sad Affleck meme, just because saying. he was so tired of playing Batman. I think he's just exhausted from doing a press tour where he's just like, all right, this guy's going to talk, so I can just veg out. We've all had our resting face on when we're like, oh God, did people see what I actually look like? When I'm just saying,
he's made comments and he's done stuff stuff, and he's people feel that he's not as dedicated to DC like Cavill is. I don't think people go nuts if you threw Affleck off officially. I don't think people go as crazy as they went today for Superman. For Cavill.
I don't know that people were ever as pro Batfleck anyway, though. Like there was always a little reluctance to accept that for some people, and also he's had to deal with it from a filmmaker perspective and watching a whole film fall apart. So I understand why he might be a little more miffed at the scenario.
And he was a much bigger star. Yeah, he is a much bigger star than Henry Cavill is still. So I know Henry Cavill's a great actor. He's a great personality. Yeah. Ben Affleck was one of the biggest movie stars in the world at multiple points during his career. Yep. Celebrated filmmaker, a much more well-known celebrity, whether you want to call it tabloids or whether you want to call it actual body of work. But he came into Batman. That was a much bigger fervor than just looking at Henry Cavill being like, oh yeah, I saw him in that thing, and he does kind of look like how I imagined Superman to look. So I can see that.
But look at this. Look at Batman vs Superman, right? You have Ben Affleck as Batman, and they're like, we're going to launch a trilogy with Matt Reeves. We don't know if Ben Affleck's going to come back, but he's still in the mix for a trilogy. Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot's in there, 2 or 3 scenes? We're going to give her, she comes in, she blows up. Patty Jenkins does a great job with that film. She's great in the film. Already Wonder Woman 84. People are looking forward. I can't wait. Cavill's back here going, hey, I was in the movie too. And guess what? I started this whole thing off. Where's my where's my movie? Where's my sequel? Where's my stuff? And I keep coming back to that, and I don't believe a word. And it may mean I don't get to go any more screenings anymore, but I don't believe a word WB says about this. This whole thing about, he took The Witcher and therefore he didn't want to be a part of it. It's a bad soldier. Bull crap. He was been there from the beginning. You guys have screwed him around, and now you got to pay the price. And the fans are turning on you. And look, you are messing up again with the DC situation. Stop doing this. Be smart. Don't let this stuff filter out. I think this thing filtered out, and they weren't ready how to deal with it, and everyone's back on their heels playing defense. And now that's why all these confusing statements have come out all day today. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Are you in agreement that Man of Steel 2 should be the next project that they're working on, as opposed to expanding their various film horizons in all these different directions with having Birds of Prey come out, Supergirl, then you have the Joker movie that's going to be in a different shared universe entirely. Yeah. So do you think that they should have focused on Man of Steel 2, or do you think that there is something to be said, because I do, for them expanding the universe and going in a different way? I'm not saying Man of Steel 2 wouldn't be successful, but I understand why they're looking at other places to try to get the comic book film going down.
I'm a little bit column A, column B here, because I love the idea that they've introduced of films outside the existing timeline that we have. Films, the upcoming Joker project that can be a little weirder and don't have to pay attention to all the nuances that we've been keeping up with. So there's room for both, which is like, why then not do Man of Steel 2? And I guess my biggest frustration with that is just that, like, clearly people want it. A lot of fans have been asking for that for a really long time. Like you keep mentioning, it's been 5 years. It's enough. And he's so bright for it. Like they have the person in contract, like that make the movie. You don't know what you're doing right now, clearly. So while you're waiting to figure out what you're doing with your universe, make the movie that people want to see.
Yeah, it also worries me too. If I was an actor stepping in, it's like Momoa right now is shaking in his fins, because if Aquaman comes out and it's crap, they clearly can move him out as Aquaman. Right. If they're going to move Affleck out, they're going to move Cavill out, they can move Aquaman. No one is safe. If Shazam comes out and for some unknown reason really craps the bed, what are they going to do with Zachary Levi? So if they show a propensity to get rid of one of their most loyal soldiers, why do you think they're going to show any loyalty to you who just showed up? That's also a message that gets sent out to actors and people who work on this stuff.
It could be an indication that they're like, okay, Aquaman's going to run its course, Shazam's going to run its course, Wonder Woman 1984 we know is going to be a hit, and then we might just keep Gal Gadot and then just blow this entire thing up. And maybe that's one of the harbingers that this is showing us. I tend to agree with Haleigh's initial point, though, is that this could just be negotiating in public. And if you laugh at that, we've seen it happen before, where you see a social media reaction, you see how the fans react to news. Look at how Deadpool was made in the first place,
right.
where you see the fervor that fans have for a particular character. And Henry Cavill might not have woken up this morning knowing that all these fans are going to be on his side, but it certainly is clear from 4 p.m. in the PST today that they care about him playing Superman. Myself, I'm going to be fine either way. I'm going to survive. And Henry Cavill, look, there's another franchise out there that could use a British dude that might need a replacement soon, and that's James Bond. So I wonder if he's like, look, I might just go and step into the tux as opposed to put on the cape. Like Rocha said, he's still going to have to work out. So sorry, Henry, you're not going to be putting on weight for any roles upcoming if WB or the James Bond people have anything to say about it. Well, if he's not going to be Superman, somebody's got to play Superman, and I'm too busy hosting movie talk. So, according to Deadline, rumors are already swirling about who could step in to the phone booth. One of the actors is Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, this is a rumor, but again, it was reported by Deadline, so it's something that you should take seriously to a degree. This is Michael B. Jordan. He's a big star. He doesn't look like Superman usually does in the comics, but I think that this would be a very interesting maneuver by WB, and it would show what we're surmising from the first story is that they want to take this universe in a new, bold direction. You're making this weird standalone Joker movie. You're making Birds of Prey. You're making Supergirl. Having Michael B. Jordan step in and be a black Superman, I think is very interesting, and you can scream canon at me all you want. Superman's an alien, okay? He's from a different planet, so I don't know what he's supposed to look like. I think Michael B. Jordan could be a fantastic superhero. We know anything from his history. We've seen him be great as Adonis Creed. That's a heroic role. We've seen him be great in Killmonger. That's a super villain role, but it's a comic book movie. Michael B. Jordan can certainly step into that cape. John Rocha, if Michael B. Jordan gets announced as Superman, what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to the internet?
Listen, well, the internet's going to blow up. That's for sure. They're probably blowing up right now in the comment section. But I remember I tweeted out this morning. I said, I remember because I'm old, I forget things I tweet out. But in the morning, I said, I want to see them do something new. Don't give me a Richard Donner copy. Don't give me a Zack Snyder copy. If this is really going to go down and you're going to wait a few years to do a Superman film, give me something new. This is certainly new. This is bold. This is interesting. And what you say, Ellis, is absolutely correct. He's an alien from another planet. It doesn't matter what color he is. When he comes here, if we have a black Superman, right? It's a black Superman, Michael B. Jordan, and he's come here as a baby being raised by two white people in Kansas, we've got ourselves a whole separate movie that we're talking about that is interesting to explore, a little more possibly socially aware movie. Maybe some people would be upset about that, but I think it would be a fascinating and interesting new way for us to take these superheroes. You know, we're always talking about superhero fatigue. Well, what's the way to avoid that? You do new and interesting things with these properties. And Michael B. Jordan Superman would be fantastic. He's got the look. He's got stuff. He's got the smoothness. I could see him being Clark Kent, trying to break stories as a younger guy, and then having to go off and do the things that he's doing. And who knows? Maybe we'll get a Tessa Thompson back, a reunion there with Tessa Thompson and Michael B. Jordan. Maybe Tessa's playing a little Lois Lane action. I'd love that. So there's all kinds of things.
I don't think that's going to work because Tessa Thompson is currently shooting a movie where she actually hunts aliens with the Men in Black franchise. So she's probably going after Kal-El right now. She's going after the whole LL family. Haleigh, if you look at this, it's not that foreign to Superman to say, well, this is a character that has felt ostracized by society at various points in his matriculation once he got to Earth. And certainly the black experience can speak to that. If Michael B. Jordan is playing it, how much does it change what Superman goes through? Should it change a lot from the canon, like what Rocha says? Is it, does he still get adopted by parents who are in Kansas? I mean, I like keeping most of that lore, but having Michael B. Jordan play it certainly be very interesting.
Yeah, thank you for that softball question.
That's what I do here.
I think if you cast Michael B. Jordan, you have to change your approach to the material a little bit, or you're being a bit foolish and you have your blinders on. But that doesn't mean you have to abandon the things that people love about Superman. The core traits can absolutely stand up there, and you know that would have to be decided. Does he still land with a white family where maybe he lands somewhere else? I'm here for it. I personally, my biggest problem with the idea is that I just think Michael B. Jordan is so freaking talented. I would like to see him do not a superhero movie for a while. And it's not, I love superhero movies. That's my main jam. But like, okay, no, horror is my main jam. But superhero movies right up there.
I was going to say, The Witching are pretty popular.
All right, sorry. But I just want to, we've got 2 now of him doing superhero movies. I'd like to see him do something else. So I love the concept. He'd be great for it. I just, as a fan of his performances, if he wants to keep making these sort of big crowd movies, I'd like to see more along the lines of Creed and a little less superhero in his life.
Well, I'd like to see, I mean, obviously I want to see Creed 2 anyway, but I want to see what the follow to Creed 2 is with the Adonis Creed character. Are we going to continue to go on? Are we going to have multiple Creeds like we have 6, 7 Rockies. Are we going to do that? Or is this going to be like, okay, well, we avenged my dad's death to the guy who killed him, so now I knocked out Drago? I'm assuming that's what happens in the movie at some point.
Spoiler alert.
There's no way. I didn't see it at TIFF. I wanted to.
Okay.
But they didn't have it there yet. So I think that with his career, I think it's fine if he becomes Superman because he has so many other options. I think the hesitation a lot of fans might have is you don't want a star of this magnitude that can do anything they want on screen being stuck in a universe that has no idea where it's going. Right. I mean, he played Killmonger, and everybody got very excited because they trusted in the vision that Marvel and the MCU had. You can't say the same thing right now for the DCU. As much as you might love Superman or the idea of Michael B. Jordan or anybody else playing Superman, you can't give that blind loyalty to this company right now.
Yeah. And I've talked to a couple of my DC friends, and they're like, if they really do this with Cavill and do this thing that they're doing here, and then the Michael B. Jordan possibility, although it would be interesting, they're out. Like, they finally hit their wall. And if the most dedicated fans to your brand are considering leaving your brand and defending your brand, then there's something wrong that you are doing. No matter how much stability you're trying to convey, you're still creating instability with one of your most legendary characters. And that is dangerous all around, I think.
What's the most excited you are for a DC movie coming up? Just out of curiosity, would it be? And I'm going to throw Michael B. Jordan as Man of Steel in here. So if you could, you're at a theater, you can go see Michael B. Jordan as Superman, or do you want to go see Birds of Prey, or do you want to go see Supergirl? Do you want to see the standalone Joker movie? Do you want to see Aquaman, Shazam? What is it? What's the movie?
Do you have one?
Yeah,
punch it out.
I would normally say Shazam because that's my guy. Captain Marvel is I always defend Shazam / Captain Marvel, but that standalone Joker movie could be the most insane thing we've ever seen, or the greatest train wreck you've ever seen on film. So the excitement of that makes me put it just a little bit above Shazam, because I got a feeling Shazam is going to be a fun time and I'm going to enjoy it. But the standalone Joker movie could be bonkers, and I can't wait to see that. If they actually film it, I won't believe it until the production is actually done, wrapped, and there's a screening.
Haleigh, what do you got? Did Rocha sell you on the Joker movie?
I'm right there with you on that anyway. Like, who knows? Is it a trash fire or is it a glorious thing that we've never could have had? I mean, it sounds like they're more or less doing King of Comedy, but with the Joker, which is nuts. And okay, let's try that. That's very interesting to me. Shazam, loved that trailer. I wasn't super hyped for that because that's never been my comic book go-to, but I loved that trailer. And then, like you mentioned, the Birds of Prey movie, that's super interesting to me, mostly because of the creative control Margot Robbie's taking on it. And I think she's proven herself a really sharp businesswoman and creative partner who really thinks through the things she wants to do, and she puts her name on it as a producer. Yeah,
I mean, I'm looking forward to hopefully reporting more on the Birds of Prey movie coming up soon, as far as other casting announcements that might fall into place, who characters are going to be. Right now, I know the Joker movie probably speaks the most to your horror sensibilities as far as what the material is going to be like, how dark it's going to be. I want to see that Joker movie a lot. It's hard for me to know that history's being made in another theater with Michael B. Jordan as Superman and sitting there in Joker. Just like, you're going to hear like cheers and people are going to be going crazy for this new character and the new look. And I'm just like, I'm sitting in here watching the Joker on a talk show. What am I doing with my life? I'm going to go in. I might go for the Joker movie. Then I might walk into Superman halfway through. As of right now, these opinions subject to change.
As is the DCEU.
Yeah, right. The DCU itself, very subject to change. Take it all with a grain of salt, kiddies. Well, on Collider Live, they talked about Superman a little bit this morning. You can catch Collider Live every Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. to noon in the PDT. Is it PST? It's a PT. It's the West Coast. That's the time it comes out. You can also check out, speaking of Christian Harloff, he hosts that show. He also does one-on-one. He had Ken Knapsack, famed minor league baseball announcer, on his show this week. You can check that out. And we're going to move on to our next story, and that would be the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Now, you look at Buster Scruggs. Buster Scruggs, this is a Coen Brothers flick, and it's their first one for Netflix. And I say flick because it was originally intended to be a TV series. It was going to be an anthology series. It's 6 different stories. And the Coen brothers, they sit down, they start hammering out the material, and they say, you know what? We can get all 6 of these anthology vignettes into one movie. So Buster Scruggs, played by Tim Blake Nelson, is going to have a lot to do here. And if the trailer's any indication, it's going to be a fun ride. Can you cram all of that into one film? if you're going to do it, I think Netflix is the right platform to release it on because it can be as long as it wants. You want to get those clicks. People watch it. If they can stay awake, that's a different story. I have very mixed feelings about Coen Brothers movies over the years. I love some. I despise some other ones, but I think that they are very talented, and I'm interested to see what they do with this Buster Scruggs movie. John Rocha.
Yeah.
What say you? Do you rebuff my claim that I don't like some Coen Brothers movies?
No, I rebuffed that any of them are absolutely terrible, but I will say I'm the outlaw, and I love Westerns.
Oh, boy.
Damn, this looks great. This looks fantastic. This looks so much fun. And here's the gift about Joel and Ethan Coen. When they're on, they're incredible storytellers, not because of the overarching main story of the movie. All the little subplot stories, they do a really great job of fleshing them out, and they cast the right actors that bring nuance and complexities to the limited amount of screen time that they have. I still love the Kelly MacDonald, Josh Brolin story that was going on in No Country for Old Men. Their relationship, what they had done, her mother coming in, and hers, that whole taxi ride where she's revealing what happened in the past between their relationship. All of that was fleshed out so great, and then Tommy Lee Jones and his wife having conversation about the dreams and what does that all signify and the thing with the horse. Like, all of that are just small subplots. So if you're going to pick two directors who are going to weave in 6 stories, these are the perfect guys to do it. Plus, what they did with True Grit was incredible. So they captured the vibe, and you could tell there's a wink and a smile in this thing, but doesn't lose any of the darkness or that they're known for in a number of their movies. They never shy away from some of the brutal realities of the plots they explore. Like in Fargo, it still scares me, the sound of Willie Mitch Macy screaming as he's caught at the end in the hotel room trying to climb out the bathroom window. That's a man who's realizing that his life is over, and just hearing him scream still gives me chills, man.
That's how the movie ends, if you haven't seen it yet. When you look at Westerns, that's the reason why I'm excited for this, is because it's a Western. It's because True Grit. Yeah. You go back to No Country for Old Men. You can go as far back as Raising Arizona if you really want to get into Western vibes with hints of comedy. I mean, obviously Raising Arizona is primarily comedy, but you look at what they can do with this, it excites me a lot more when they're working on material that is a Western, Haleigh, than something like a Hail Caesar or a Burn After Reading. Just things that I found really disappointing. I know it's a very mixed reactions to those movies. Yeah. For this trailer, we were talking about it off camera, can they cram all this material into one movie that makes sense as a 2-hour piece?
Right. You know, it's really interesting that you brought up those 2 titles specifically because they were the only 2 Coen Brothers movies that I really didn't like the first time I watched them, and then later came around on completely, and now I love them. Okay. So there's a part of me that thinks that maybe Coen Brothers comedies outside of Lebowski are just a little hard to get a hold on. As for all that story and that little movie, that's a struggle with any anthology film. I think anthologies work incredible on TV, and I would have loved to see what these guys would do with like a anthology series, maybe 6 hours for 6 stories. 6 stories in 2 hours. Any anthology has to climb that hill, and often what you find is that parts of the movie are absolutely fantastic and the other parts just don't match up. And I suspect that's what we're going to see here, even though they're like master craftsman filmmakers. Anthologies are tough.
Yeah, and sometimes you see a filmmaker and they're starting to work with Netflix and you say, well, I'm not sure if this is the right fit. For me, for whatever reason, this feels like a natural fit for the Coen Brothers with this material to be on Netflix. Y'all see it the same way, or do you think that this should have been a theatrical release, or does it even matter at this point?
I think the lines are blurring so much now at this point. We hear Michael Bay doing this thing with Ryan Reynolds. We have Martin Scorsese doing his thing. We just had a recent announcement with Soderbergh. They bought Netflix bought the global rights for his High Flying Bird film, which we reported on yesterday. So Netflix is blurring the lines, and the returns are fantastic in terms of the material that they've released recently, film-wise and TV show-wise and documentary-wise. It's been incredible. And so for me, I think these are the right partners to get involved. And I don't think these filmmakers would sell their work to Netflix or have Netflix distribute their work if they didn't believe in what Netflix does and Netflix's understanding of the craftsmanship of their work.
I'm not sure I can agree that Netflix has been putting out a standard of incredible films this year, but I think part of it is that they...
Well, Bright wasn't this year, right? So I get away with that,
Bright wasn't, but there have been some other ones. Hey, I enjoyed The Kissing Booth, but it's not very good.
Oh, well.
I mean, and it's so much content.
Yeah,
that
that's
fair.
It's unfair to
Yes.
say, oh, these two movies were great, so Netflix is doing great work.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They're producing at such a volume. I think it was 80-something new things
Yeah.
they put out this year, and films specifically, not TV,
Right.
I believe. And that's ridiculous. Billions and billions of dollars into content. So much like an anthology, when you're doing that much, it's going to be hit and miss. I don't know about the Coen brothers, how they fit at Netflix specifically. Like when you talk about Soderbergh going over there, that I find so exciting. He is a perfect fit for that. He always has liked to work outside of the studio model.
True.
He's a real maverick kind of dude. And now he's got what he's kind of always needed, which is a lot of money to do what he likes to do. I'm not sure about the Coens as they fit there. I see them as such sort of classicist filmmakers, more sticking to tradition and really high production value. And Netflix can deliver that, but I don't know if that's the right home for them.
Well, we will find out
Yeah.
when the Ballad Buster Scruggs debuts on Netflix later on this year. I want to remind you guys at the end of the show, we're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us at Collider Video and use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. Now, you talk about Henry Cavill and all the fan support he has. This is why I love our fans too. Debbie Schechter just tweeted using the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. She said, Henry Cavill just posted something very interesting on his Instagram.
Oh, no.
It's a video that he put. It was literally 5 minutes ago. Thank you, Debbie, for the heads up. And it's him, and he's kind of looking very Kal-El, and he's raising a toy version of Man of Steel like that. And he said his caption was, "Today was interesting." So I think I agree even more with Haleigh, and her initial point that I keep going back to is that this is a negotiating ploy, and let's see how much fan support I can get. If news like this drops today and you still want to be Superman, you post something like that. It didn't feel like, I just watched it didn't feel like it was a thank you, thanks for all the laughs, we had a good time, I'm going to go be James Bond. This felt like I still think I should be Superman to me.
Damn right.
Yeah.
All right, well, we move on to our last story. Then we'll get to your live Twitter questions. And that story is the 40th anniversary of Halloween is going to be celebrated in a major way because there's a new movie called Halloween coming out. It's going to act as a direct sequel to the original 1978 classic. And here's what's fun. September 27th, we're going to re-release the 40th anniversary special edition of Halloween in select theaters. Maybe it's going to be playing near you, but you can go check out the original Carnage. Jamie Lee Curtis as a young Laurie Strode taking on this weirdo Michael Myers, the weird shape, the shadow, walking around, doing no good to people. You can see that classic if it's playing near you, and then that'll gear you up for the release of Halloween, the new version, the sequel, but it's not called Halloween 2. It just retcons Halloween 2 and everything going forward. I am very excited for this movie, and I say very excited because I was at TIFF. I was not at TIFF the night that Halloween debuted.
Oh, no.
If you caught the Schmoedown, the live Schmoedown that we released part 1 yesterday, released part 2 on Friday, I did mention that Halloween's the one movie that I missed because it was only playing Saturday night at TIFF, and I came back to, for some reason, to cheer on John Rocha and his team against Stacey Howard and Winston. But when you look at Halloween in the context of being an all-time great horror movie, the original I'm talking about, I think it definitely warrants a re-release regardless of whether it has a new movie coming out, because it's Halloween and you're re-releasing it around Halloween. Haleigh, I don't think that you and I are going to have too many crosswords with this story, is that this movie deserves to be re-released every year in theaters.
Oh, yeah, do it. Like maybe a couple times a year as far as I'm concerned.
You could do Halloween in April if you wanted to.
Absolutely. That's a year-round gem. I hope that they're not doing both films in theaters at the same time, because as somebody who managed movie theaters for a really long time, I just picture ticketing nightmares when people are like, I'll have 2 for Halloween. You get the wrong tickets. Just clear up your titles, people.
Yeah, you got to either call it Halloween Marathon.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they're doing it in September, because that's a few weeks before the new Halloween comes out. So get that out of theaters or let fans know, because I would be up for a combo pack. Like, I'm not the guy, I can't stay awake for 21 MCU movies or whatever it is when they do the marathons that start a week before the movie comes out, because you got to watch all those films, even Star Wars movies. I'm like, it's a lot of material to get through to get to the new one. With this Halloween, I could see the original Halloween in a theater and then go get some popcorn, relieve myself, powder my nose, and then get right back in the theater and go watch the new Halloween. How about you, Rocha?
Listen, I love this idea. Of course, this is one of my favorite horror movies, maybe my top horror movie ever. The question is, though, I don't know if I want to remaster. I like the grittiness. I like that it's a 70s film. I like that it's got that vibe and that feel. If I start to see like HD 4K restoration type thing on Halloween, I'm like, you're taking away some of the joy I have of it. You know, like The Thing is a fantastic John Carpenter movie. If they touch that thing and make it all clean, I'm going to be upset because I like the graininess of it. I like that it feels from another time and it adds to the overall atmosphere of the movie. And I think with Carpenter's Halloween, that's great as well, because in a way it's kind of a, how can I say this? It's almost like a horror. It's like a nostalgia horror. Like now at this point, you know, people remember where they were when they saw this thing for the first time and what it did to them and things of that nature. You know, I saw every single one of these until 6. Right after 6 was when I stopped.
Smart.
Yeah, I kind of, yeah.
I like H2O
I hit the
a lot,
wall.
but 6 was a wall to hit.
Yeah, 6 was the wall. I was like, I can't. Daniel Harris did a great job. I hit that wall. I was like, Donald Pleasance, I can't anymore. But like, this is still one that scares the hell out of me, and I love that it's being re-released in this way. For this reason, rather, it's because new people will discover it, and that's always best to discover a film like this in the theaters.
Yeah, and it lets people know that, hey, this new Halloween is a sequel. It's not, we're not remaking the original. We're honoring the original by continuing the story in a different way than the previous films did. So something to check out. September 27th. Check your local listings. Read the paper or do whatever you do to get movie tickets. There you go. Tomorrow on Collider Video, you can check out Jedi Council. All new episode of that. They're talking Star Wars, Christian, and the gang. And make sure you guys, like I said, check out the new movie Trivia Schmoedown live. It's going to drop on Friday. And if you haven't seen from yesterday, you can watch John Rocha and Dan Merle take on Stacey and Winston. What a hell of a matchup it was. I was thrilled just to be a part of it. The crowd was great. Thank you all for showing up to that. It really means a lot to us. I flew in from Canada for it, and it was worth every step of the way. Move on to our live Twitter questions, and we got some good ones closing us out here. Jonathan O'Neill is up first, and he says, "Hey guys, love the show." Thank you. With Buster Scruggs and Sisters Brothers both coming out this year, those are Western movies, he says, "What are your favorite 21st century Westerns? And do you think the Westerns are having a bit of a renaissance?"
Yeah, there's certainly possible. Why not? Horror can have a renaissance. Let's have some Westerns renaissance. What's wrong with that? Let's make it happen. I love this idea.
You really play your character well.
Thank you. Thank you.
You don't clock out as the outlaw.
No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it.
People ask me when I'm like walking around in a new city, like, "Hey, Rocha, is he really like that?" Yeah, he's really like.
Listen, the best wrestling personalities are your actual personality turned up to 11. That's what it is.
His horse is parked outside.
That's right. Although Makuga believes I've never ridden a horse. He makes a point of saying that. The thing is, yeah, I think it is becoming, and I don't know, I think we have this feeling that we want to go back to this other time when we were more adventurous. We had things to conquer, places to explore. Danger was right around the corner. There was excitement. It was a new land we were discovering, all those kinds of things. And I think that's why people love Westerns the way they do. And they want to believe in good, and that good triumphs over evil again. They want to believe that. So Westerns do that. At its most basic, it's the black hat versus the white hat. At its most basic, that's what it is, good versus evil. And so that is what people enjoy. So True Grit, definitely one of my favorite. I love the 3:10 to Yuma remake. That's a great remake. I mean, people do not give that Western a lot of love, and it certainly deserves it. Those are the two that leap to mind right now.
Jonathan O'Neill listed...
and The Proposition. I'm sorry, The Proposition.
The Proposition,
well.
yeah.
Great
Jonathan picked Hostels and Slow West as two of his favorites. Haleigh, you have any nominations?
I would go with 3:10 to Yuma. I think that's a fantastic film, fantastic remake. I saw it before I saw the original, but I loved it so much that it inspired me to then go watch the original. And, you know, I like what you were saying about, like, this return to the appeal of the Western. I think another cool thing we're seeing is that, the Western really did disappear for quite a while. And the filmmakers who are now making them are the filmmakers who grew up huge fans of them. And they get to make them these beautiful, artful modern films with incredible artisans focusing on things that weren't always at the top of, the priority list when Westerns were being made, sort of fast studio style back in the day. You look at even just the cinematographer on Buster Scruggs, Bruno Delbonnel, he's like an artist, and he previously worked with the Coens on Inside Llewyn Davis. And just to see that kind of artistry put into the shots in a Western, not that they didn't have beautiful composition before, but there's more attention to details like that now that I really appreciate in this new wave of Westerns.
Right, and you're right with the remakes too, with your True Grits, your 310 to Yumas, and then when you look at The Hateful Eight, which is not a movie that I love, but a reason why I would send people to the theater to see it is because Tarantino sunk his teeth into being able to film it the way that he always imagined being able to film a Western, with these huge, wide scoping shots, those panorama visions of just this open range. Speaking of that, I caught Open Range for the first time. I'm a huge Kevin Costner. You know, I don't give Kevin Costner enough credit for how much I love that gentleman.
That's a damn good movie, son.
I find him watchable.
That is a damn good movie.
It gets a little slow.
You're insane.
It gets a little
Robert Duvall and oh god,
Kevin Costner is who
and the
we're
other
looking for Kevin
Warren Beatty's
Costner.
wife.
You're looking for Annette Bening.
Annette Bening. Yes, I knew there was an A in my head. I'm sorry.
You really come to play when the lights are on. When they're not, it just
waste all my
done.
energy. No, but I love that movie because that is rarely done, where you have a middle-aged woman and a middle-aged man having a romance in a Western. That is rarely done. It's always the young damsel in distress and the old guy coming in and saving her, or the middle-aged guy coming in. And I love that you get this. And that's another reason why I enjoy it. And Michael Gambon is a fantastic villain, my God. And it is Michael Jeter's last film. He was dying of cancer as he was making the film. When you see him in there, I would also throw Godless. If people haven't seen that on Netflix, Godless is incredible. 10 episode miniseries with Jeff Daniels. You take that Dumb and Dumber guy and you put him as a ruthless villain. It's incredible, the acting that you see in that series.
Yeah, I would toss Appaloosa onto the pile as well for Westerns that maybe went a little too unnoticed in my opinion. It's not the fastest paced Western. It moves a little slow, but I really love the burn that it is. It's a damn good Western. Check it out if you get some time and you like yourself some Westerns. Well, based on the note of Michael Jeter, what you said is that there's an interesting question that's going to close us out here today from James Leon. And it's a little morbid, but maybe we can have some fun with it. He says, if you could bring back one actor who passed on too soon for one final project, who would it be, and what kind of project would you like to see him? Talk about Westerns. It's not known as a great Western, but he mentions Chris Farley. And Chris Farley was in...
Wagons East?
No, that was John Candy.
Who was...
Chris Farley was in Almost Famous. Not Almost Famous, Almost Heroes. When him and Matthew Perry or Lewis and Clark going with, was not in. I would have loved to see Chris Farley in Almost Famous. But yeah, Chris Farley's one that I would definitely sign off on. I mean, that guy's career was really just getting going. And oh my God, you look at the comedic. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody make me laugh as hard as Chris Farley. You know, it just... It really was a tragedy losing him so early, him and Belushi for that matter, because they both had such incredible careers yet to go. So those are the two names that I would agree with you with. And y'all got other actors, actresses?
Yeah, I think the one that really broke my heart fairly recently, and not just because it was a terribly sad story, but because of the potential of all the performances and films that were never made, was Philip Seymour Hoffman. That was just like devastating to me, and he was someone back in the day when I used to want to be an actor, he was somebody I really admired and looked to time and again, and that was kind of shattering. And I would love to have watched his performances as he aged.
Yeah, Anton Yelchin, I would say as well.
Yeah.
Another one, and then you can go all-time classic, Rocha, like when you were a boy in James Dean.
James Dean was actually my answer.
Sal Mineo.
Sal Mineo too, a fantastic guy. James Dean is the answer. We recently did Giant for the Cinephiles, and I can never watch that movie enough. And it's a 3-hour movie, and if I stumble on it on TCM, I am just engrossed in that film. I like it. Of his 3, that's my favorite, with Rebel Without a Cause being second, and East of Eden being third. But his talent there, every once in a while, an actor comes along, has a certain style, and nobody else can do that style. Dean had that style. Brando has that. Even Shatner, to a degree, has that style. People have a certain style that if anybody else did it, it would be ridiculous. But he made it work. The kind of looking around, the kind of hunched over, but he doesn't take attention away from the other actors. He's just living his life. And it's incredible what he's able to do in Giant. And you see him coming into his own even more so out of those like coming-of-age films that were East of Eden and were Rebel Without a Cause. You saw the potential of this incredible master actor who could have essentially eclipsed Brando. Had he stayed alive, he could have eclipsed Brando with his performances, who was one of his idols coming up. So that's a guy that I would love to have seen him do another Western. Just to see him play a hero in a Western would be fantastic, or even possibly a gangster film. To see him play something in a gangster film would be interesting, an unusual character.
Okay, fine. We'll do one more. It's a quick one. It's from Mario. You may say it's a little selfish I'm taking this question, but I'm going to throw it to my panelists as well. He said, Mark, you just got back from TIFF. What was your favorite movie that you saw at TIFF? So before I reveal my answer, which I still don't know for sure, what's the most anticipated movie that y'all have that you've seen the folks in Canada buzzing about?
Oh, it should be no surprise, probably, that for me it's Halloween.
There you go.
I mean, that's top of the list, but I'm also very eager to see if Beale Street could talk.
John Rocha?
I made no. I haven't hinted my love for First Man. I know that movie's going to mess me up from the tip of my toes to the top of my head. That's going to mess me up. But if Beale Street Could Talk is slowly catching up to that, and I don't know, was White Boy Rick up there?
White Boy Rick was up there.
Yeah, that's one that I see that trailer every single time. I'm like, that one is going to be a blast.
Yeah, I'm not hearing great things about
really?
it. Really? I want to see it. I wasn't able to make the screening of White Boy Rick there because there's like 120 movies that were playing there. I did get to see if Beale Street Could Talk and First Man within hours of each other. And they're both like, it's not even a question as to whether they're going to get nominated for Best Picture. That and A Star Is Born. Just incredible filmmaking, incredible performances. So all three of those, I think, are locks for Best Picture. Right now, maybe it's because it's a crowd pleaser. Maybe it's because the most recent movie I saw might surprise some of y'all. Green Book, starring Viggo Mortensen, Mahershala Ali. It's an amazing tale based on a true story. You had Viggo Mortensen, who's playing this tough Italian guy, and he's driving around Mahershala Ali, who is a black man who's a world-renowned piano player in the South during his tour. And so they take on different roles for each other. They're each other's support system, and seeing how they come from very different worlds. There's so many surprises. There's so much fun to be had. There's so much drama. It's a movie you can take any generation of people to go see, and I think that they will appreciate it. And shout out to Sebastian Maniscalco, a very funny comedian who happens to be in the movie. So there you go. That's going to do it for us here today on Collider Movie Talk. John Rocha?
Yeah.
Get some sleep because you're right back in the host chair tomorrow. I am going overseas. I'm going to be doing some stand-up on a USO tour, but I will be back Monday. At least I'll be back in LA Monday. Whether I'm actually back in this chair Monday, we'll see how the flight treats me. Looking forward to seeing all of our brave servicemen and servicewomen overseas, and maybe some service dogs while we're at it. Thank you to Haleigh Foutch, to John Rocha. I appreciate you taking the reins. Haleigh, thank you for keeping John Rocha in line.
Do my best.
I am merely Mark Ellis, and they will see y'all tomorrow on a new episode of Collider Movie Talk. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.